What is up, everyone? What is up? How are y'all doing? It's Wednesday. It's hump day. You know, one of these days, somebody's gonna come into my streams and be like, why the hell do you do that every Wednesday? And then I'm gonna feel old. That's one thing I was talking to somebody about about this the other day with, there's no really big cultural moment everybody understands. I remember when that commercial was going around, everyone knew what that commercial was. Now you have all these micro segmentations of, different communities and everything. I mean, it's great that everyone's got their own communities and all that for their own vibe, but at the same time, it's kind of weird because there's no real, there's not a lot of things where you can go around and be like, yeah, everyone understands this. Because now there's, little niche humor jokes in different communities. But it's kind of nice, though, because of the niche humor. You can look around and be like, hey! So, last stream, we were talking about secrets management. There was a student that got a $55,000 bill because they hard-coded their API key. And I showed off Doppler, which I've been loving. Still use it for all of my projects, and I don't see that stopping anytime soon. I've been making this massive Discord bot. I don't know if people have been paying attention to that, but if you've been in the Discord, you've definitely seen it. There's tons and tons of features I've been baking into this little guy. Actually just added a few more features today. It's been an interesting project. So the idea is that we can get a lot of different alerts, especially on the cybersecurity side, inside of the Discord. You have to verify numbers to join the Discord. I don't remember what I set the setting, but for a lot of Discords, the community settings, you have to. Hold on, let me see. Safety setup, raid. Hold on, raid protection. Although in this day and age, I don't see why anyone doesn't have a number verified at this point. But I'm looking and seeing what does it have set up. Verification level. Yeah, must have a verified phone number on their Discord account. That was because we had to stop a lot of bots. Earlier on, somebody did that. Maybe someone doesn't want to give theirs away. Well, here's the reality. Your phone number's somewhere. That's just how it is. There's a lot of services out there, what was it? There's quite a few services you're gonna have to give your phone number anyway to use them at all. And the reality is, when we didn't have that, people were getting around and spamming different Discords, and that is just the honest truth here, that you're gonna have to put your phone number in for a lot of different services to be able to fully use it. And unfortunately, a few bad apples spoiled the bunch, and that was one of the ways that we stopped bots early on. There were a few bad actors that tried spamming everything, and there was a few channels that got flooded with, spam, and that was it. Just had your teeth clean today, now I feel high. That is always a good feeling. But yeah, we have the Discord bot. I've been building a lot of different features. I actually made an announcement a little bit before the stream started with some of the new features here. So we have vendor alerts over here. So what is this? This is particular to cybersecurity. So there's a lot of different vendors out here that when they go down, like Zscaler, Datadog, but this probably is more common for a lot of you. Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud Platform, Cloudflare, but also Okta, JumpCloud, Duo Security, Delinea, Doppler, GitHub, GitLab, Atlassian products, Wiz, and Tenable. So the idea is, if and when they start having issues, there'll be a channel here, vendor status alerts. We have a bunch of new additions to... are you deeply involved in the server? It's my server. Yeah, I'm there pretty much every day. I'm building the bot for this server. It's Penguin Overlord over here. And this one is... There's a lot of features this is doing. So we have CVEs that's putting out over here. So we have awareness. These are known exploits, called known as KEV, known exploited vulnerabilities. So these are the things that we should have awareness of so that we can actually know to patch them immediately. Then you have your general CVEs of your common vulnerabilities and exploits. These are just... They've been revealed. They're not actively exploited all the time, but these ones are. So like you can see, what was it, just today, we had the GladiNet Trio Fox improper access control vulnerability, the Microsoft Windows race condition vulnerability, that was revealed with Patch Tuesday, so go patch your systems. The WatchGuard Firebox out of bombs right vulnerability. WatchGuard. Interesting. I used to deploy their firewalls all the time. You even have Samsung mobile devices out of bounds, right vulnerability, so go update yo shiz! Yeah, pain in my arm is a little numbed, but they didn't give me any numbing. Interesting. What's up, Computer Whiz? Can't wait to see the price of the Steam Machine. Have they dropped the price on that yet? And I added a crap ton of cybersecurity news resources over here, so there's all kinds... What the hell? Oh. I think... This one is a Japanese article or site. I'll have to look into that. Maybe use an LLM to translate it in the near future. Because there are a lot of sources overall around the world. What terminal emulator do I use? The basic one that comes with the system. I'm not bougie. So we have Apple Android news, we have the tech news, gaming news, US legislation, EU legislation, UK legislation. This is another enhancement over here, the solar weather report over here. So I have to push the new version over here. So what this is if you're a ham radio operator, you can get all your solar weather forecast conditions over here. But not only that, if we go over into the Radiohead's channel, you can find, you can use this really anywhere, but most of the Radioheads are going to use it. So you can actually put the frequency of a different device, find out what it is, as well as you can, if you're a ham radio operator, you want to know what your band plan is to access everything. And if we scroll up, you can get your D-region absorption prediction right from NOAA, the Aurora map, and yeah, this was me testing it. But yeah, it's been working pretty nicely. There's going to be a bunch more features that I'm going to be working on in the near future. Oh yeah, I forgot. I got to reinstall the bot too. Heard there's going to be a new brand type of console called the Steam Machine. Yeah. It's just Valve releasing another computer. I'm curious. I saw some of the specs coming out from Gamers Nexus. I watched a little bit about a little bit of it before I started the stream. I was just curious about it. Alright, so this should be, instead of going over what the no, it wasn't sudo, it was bash scripts. So I actually made the entire bot here Dockerized, and it is open source, by the way. Have it on the GitHub container repository. So made a nice little helper script for everything, because I'm lazy. You know, spend 20 minutes to automate something that takes you 30 seconds. So we're going to stop this guy over here, reinstall with the same config, because I already have that there. We have optimized timers, systemd timers is what I like to do. We are not going to use the same Docker. We're going to pull it from the GitHub container repository. It's going to download from GitHub. I have actions that are automatically building Docker containers in GitHub, so anyone can go grab this. There's a very extensive, I can show you this, github.com. And these are all the timers, as you can see: CVE, cybersecurity, tech, gaming, Apple, Google, US legislation, EU legislation, UK legislation, general news, vendor alerts. But then there's regular background timers. And by the way, the bot is called Penguin Overlord. Let me get this. Yep. Get that going. We'll get that to the part where... Okay. So yeah, I have this project over here. We've already had one community member actually fork the code, fix a bug, and then contribute it back. So it's been fun. There's a lot of documentation we wrote with this. There's no way I would have written this by hand. I'm just going to be honest with you. There's so many different things we built into this feature-wise. We're going to have it do a fresh pull. No, we're not going to clear the cache. And we're going to reload all the feeds. So what that's going to do is it's going to start populating everything over that it missed within the past few minutes. So we should start seeing things that didn't come in. See, 747. It's pulling in. So it's going to go pull everything in that wasn't there for a while. And that's going to automatically pull in every few hours new news. So you can use this as a information repository. Whether it's CVEs, KEVs, vendor issues, when we start getting vendor issues, your ham radio operator. Is it written by an LLM? For the most part, yeah, because there's a lot of documentation. You know, because you have your quick references over here. You have docs upon docs over here, because there's a lot of stuff that went into this. Like, seriously, there's a lot of stuff. A lot of features. And there's going to be more. And this is just the Discord version. Do you pay for an LLM? Yes, I do. I mean, if you're actually going to be doing a lot of things in tech, pretty much you're paying for an LLM. There's, like, no one I know that's working professionally that hasn't been paying for one LLM or another, or is at least building their own. Can you update the bot to 128, not 90 seconds? It's not a bot, that's Twitch. It's one of those, like, I do the bare minimum Twitch does to give me the larger amount of the split. Look, man, home labs ain't cheap. But yeah, so we have it pulling in everything right now. I'm trying to fix this automated thing because I was bringing in the nicer version of this. This is a, so this was the simplistic math that I had for the ham radio. This was the more scientifically based one that used the minimum usable frequency, you know, critical frequency. It would put the D-layer absorption into the math, so it's a lot more involved than this one was. That took a little bit of research. Can you recommend an OS that isn't Windows or Mac? Yeah, you can always use DOS. Windows, Linux, or Mac, you can use DOS. There's FreeBSD too. Okay, come on. So what I'm curious about is... Well, that explains something there. Yeah, so this is monitoring it right now. Yep, there's a permission issue. So I definitely need to fix that. That'll be fun. But that's why I was, you know, watching it. Are you selling merch, Chief? I'll be a huge fan like the small penguin behind you. Yeah, I have a merch. It's shop.chiefgeek3d.com. Need to get some new stuff in there. It's been busy. Just wondering, you got any Cisco certifications? No. I didn't do the Cisco path. I just got my CISSP. That's the only cert I have. I wasn't even really caring to do it, but I Got it. Alright, so I'm curious now. What did I call it? Solar service. I think I messed up some of the logic when I put it in. So we're trying to see if that's going to actually run. I don't think it will. No, it did not. Probably helps if I type the full thing. Okay, so let's see. State persistence, comic, news tracking. What the hell? Alright, I'm gonna have to take that error. That's basically the same thing over and over again. Hooray! Welcome to tech. But, yeah, so that's what I've been building. How do social media companies compress a video when it is uploaded and make it visible to others? There's just compression, same as what you're using, except it's just, when you upload it, it's just processing it, and then, yeah, it's no different than what you're doing on your machine. The difference is they have a lot more processing power to do it a lot faster. I know YouTube uses, VP9, and I forget what the other algorithm I think it is. Have you worked with Indians? What has your experience with them been like? I've worked with them. I mean, they're just people. I don't know what the big deal is. I'm trying to go into forensics, Chief. Would you recommend Celebrate? I hear good things about them, but they're also kind of evil in other ways. Because, you know, a lot of people use them to backdoor devices. I have a Fanboys anime running just out of your view, so you can only hear it. What the hell? But yeah, so I've been working on this little bot over here. There's tons of little features in there. We've got the XKCD comic generator. We've got ham radio stuff going into there. I just got to work on some of the systemd timers, which I seem to be having issues with. But yeah, it's been, I think, working pretty well, considering. The container's running with UUID 1000 stable. Got an offer for Palantir Thoughts. Why would you want to work for them? I'm just being honest, like, why do you want to work for them? Is it a matter of just getting paid, or? Because, I mean, the problem is, like, yeah, you'll get paid, but how much is your soul worth? There are certain companies I just don't want to work for. Okay, there we are. You know, I'm actually really surprised with GitHub Copilot Pro, and I say that a lot. Although, if you let LLMs go and do their thing, they will do something stupid. Chief, what are your thoughts on the new Steam controller? I have the old one, and it was so-so. I'm still more of a fan of the Xbox 360 controller, but, I'm open to it. Company violates human rights and privacy. I just won't work for them. That's pretty much where I'm at. What the hell? Oh, there we go. So it's actually logging into my little Pi and trying to run some commands for me. But yeah, I at least got this bot going. I'm just trying to get this set up, and I'm eventually probably going to use it as the moderation bot, or at least make another one so that I can get rid of the moderation bot I have. The problem that I have is there's been a lot of issues where people have joined the server and it just hasn't worked. But yeah, I am interested in seeing the new Steam devices and everything, although, I mean, for the most part, it's just another computer with extra steps. It's the same thing as the Xbox. You don't know what the dentist said as he was looking at my teeth? What, that you set your appointment for tooth hurdy? What would they say? Tech companies are spying on us, you're selling your data, and you can't escape with tech. Yeah, but you can always live in the woods if you really want. That's an option. Question, why no cavities? Really? The dentist is complaining you don't have well, that's because you can't be a repeat customer. That's why dentists give you candy, because they want you to come back. And not just for the regular cleaning. They want you to come back so that you can pay them big money. I wonder how many people are going to get the new Steam device, because it's just basically another computer with extra steps, but I guess it comes down to the price point. Although at the price of what the Xbox One and PS5 are, is there really a point in buying a console over a gaming computer these days? Because have you seen the price of these devices? How important is encrypted RAM for security? I haven't really seen anyone actually do encrypted RAM. The reality is, RAM is random access memory. Once it's powered down, it's completely, you know, empty. There's not much advantage to it as to compared like error correction code or fully buffered DIMMs. That's in the Steam machine and new Steam VR. Yeah, we were already talking about it. It'll be interesting, although it's not the most powerful thing. I think they said it's got like 30-watt TDP for the CPU. But it's not going to be upgradable. It's going to be similar to a laptop, if anything. Okay, so I think we got... Cool, I think we got the solar report working now. Let's see. We're gonna fire it off right now. That's 7:59. Come on. There we go. So this was the updated solar report. You got your A index, your solar flux, your K index, the radio blackout, or solar radiation, geomagnetic storm index. These are all being pulled from NOAA, by the way. You've got your critical frequency, your minimum usable frequency, so 12 megahertz for a 3,000 kilometer path. For a regional, 10.5 megahertz for 1,000 kilometers. This is the current D-layer absorption at the time of posting. And this is your band conditions for ham radio communication. So right now, it's just good. It's good. It's not excellent, it's just good. But of course, if you're doing the 10 meter to 20 meter bands, those work better in the daytime, if I recall correctly. And then, of course, you got your regular 2 meter and 7 meter there. But I had a lot of people interested in a lot of different things. Like, there's general information in here. So if you want to find out the frequency for any device you're using, so it's like, hey, I want to figure out what LoRa's at. Boom. I want to find out what MERS is. Boom. Hey, what does the satellite frequencies are out there? And you got your different use cases. It's a good resource. Oh, this is the bot that I created for my Discord server. It does a lot of things. A lot of things. This will be the vendor alerts for, hold on. Was this set to private on accident? I wonder if that's why. No, it's a private channel. Okay, never mind. That wasn't why. But anyway, yeah, so it's pulling in all the news. Known exploited vulnerabilities, all that. And if anyone wants to run the bot themselves on their own Discord servers, that's right here on GitHub. So I've been working on this for about a week now. And I think, was it git status? Yep, we're committed. So I actually have this also Dockerized as well. So what we will do is pull this in, create a pull request. May as well label it. That's a bug fix. And assign it to myself. And then we let it do some checks over here. Very first coding class was Visual Basic. Man, that's a while ago. It's not upgradable. As long as it plays Borderlands up to 3 and PS2 and GOG games, I'm fine. I mean, I don't see why not. You would probably just need to use, what is it, Heroic Launcher to get GOG working. So, Steam, of course, works on Linux natively, and you just play, you know, that with your Steam games. Heroic Launcher for your Epic games, your Amazon games, and your GOG games. Then you have Lutris for all your games that aren't that, like some of your retro games, like Tribes 2 and stuff like I play. You use Heroic? Yeah, I really only use it for a couple of games. There was Rocket League, and I forgot the other game. Do you think it'll be worth it for getting people into PC gaming for the first PC? Like, maybe, because a lot of people when they're just starting out, they don't know how, like, what they need for a computer. So I mean, it's better than nothing, because at least you'll get a machine that you know can do some gaming. Whereas I've run into a lot of people buying a basic computer and then being like, this computer doesn't work for gaming, and I'm like, well, yeah, because it's not got enough memory and there's really no graphics card in here. It's running an Intel integrated or maybe a basic AMD APU that's not running as well as you want. But yeah, the only reason it has these rules here is because I set some lockdowns so nobody can commit to it. But I have some GitHub Actions, as you saw, that I set up, so it does checks for making sure the Python code runs, the Docker runs, there's security checks, and then the final thing that happens when you approve the code is it creates the Docker. I think stream went out. Did it? Nope, it's still here. I can still see it on the Twitch, the Kick, and the Tubes. My GOG library is full of free games, and a lot of the ones I can run are fun. So I had Humble Bundle for, I want to say, 2 or 3 years now. I have so many games, I still haven't gone through it. We'll have to get back to gaming and such. What? Oh, these are all lows. Okay, lows and warnings, so nothing to really be concerned about. Most of them are probably just me needing to clean up my code, like unused global variable, empty except... Okay, that's probably just stuff from when I was, doing that. But yeah. I have 3 Meshtastic devices. Turns out there's a decent-sized community in my city. Oh, nice! Yeah, I'm gonna be deploying my Meshtastic solar node finally this weekend. I know I've been saying I'm gonna do it for weeks, but I keep making boneheaded amateur moves and ordering the wrong adapter. So, the solar node I got it has a little tiny 2 decibel antenna, but I bought a 5.8 decibel big antenna, so it used the type N connector. So I needed RPSMA male, I think it was, to type N female. Well, the first time I ordered the cable, it somehow broke after I tightened it, so then I had to replace it. Then I got another cable, but then it was N male, so I couldn't use it. That was last week. So now I got I think the right cable. Oh yeah, and when the cable broke, I also realized I needed 18650s with a button top. So I should have that set up. My goal is to get that set up before it freezes again, because this weekend I think is going to be my last opportunity to properly deploy it. And then once I get that deployed, we move on to my next project, is just taking this Raspberry Pi 4 and this box of goodies over here. And we're going to take this... Hey, look, I got another Raspberry Pi over here. Ha! Okay, so we've got a ground plane over here. We've got an 18650 battery over here. Although, to be fair, I got a bunch of them now because I accidentally ordered too many. Type-C cable. Got a little antenna for that over here. Oh, is that where that was? That's my HDMI adapter for that. But the idea is we're going to turn this into... That's the case for this. An MQTT relay. So this is going to be connecting into this LilyGo over here. This is the T-Beam Supreme. Not the one with the nicest GPS module, just the one with the basic one. Which device am I using for my solar node? I can't remember what's in the box off the top of my head, because I got a, it was one of those, kits. I'll look it up. Because it ended up being cheaper to just get that little, thing than it was to build my own. Let me see. Sense Cap Solar Node. Let's look that up. It's from Seed Studio with 3 E's. So originally I wanted to order this many, many months ago, but then we were dealing with the Trump tariffs and all that, and it took this device here from like 90 bucks, or originally it was like 70 when you ordered from China, all the way up to like 300 bucks with tariffs. So I was like, well, can't do that. Now they actually got the P1. I got the P1 without GPS and battery. Although, honestly, I probably should have just bought the P1 Pro, because I probably spent more money on it. Anyway, what does this have in here? What sensor do you have in here? Oh, so it's a Weo SX1262 with a Xiao NRF 52840 Plus. So it's a Nordic NRF 52840 with an ARM Cortex M4. That's the board that I'm using over here. So it's a pretty decent setup over here. This is exactly what it looks like. I'm gonna have that mounted to a pole as my mast. And then I think this was this the actual antenna I got? No, that's a 3 decibel antenna. I got a 5.8 decibel antenna. So it's gonna be roughly, it's gonna get a gain of, I think, roughly 4 times, if my math is right. Wait. Yeah, 4 times. So, because the original antenna it comes with is this little dinky 2 decibel one, and I mean, it'll work, but I wanted to, you know, have a big boy antenna. I'm a real boy. But yeah, it's a nice little device. It's all self-contained over here. Because originally I was thinking of making my own, but for how much it was going to cost, I was like, I may as well just get this and put it together. I've already flashed it to the latest Meshtastic firmware, which last I did was 2.6.11, if I recall. I got 4 Moly cell batteries. They're on the Nightcore charger over there. I just got to drop them in, so I think I'm going to have, like, enough juice in this guy to power it for a little over a week. And then eventually what I'm going to do, probably in the spring when it warms up again, I'm going to get a Grove sensor in there, start adding temperature and pressure sensing and all that, so that way I can map it. Because eventually what I want to do is tie this into a Grafana dashboard and start mapping things out. That'll be, I think, kind of interesting. But, yeah. Test device, SenseCap solar node times 2. Oh, they got about close to 10 kilometers. Oh, so it can double as a weather node. Yeah, you can take a lot of these guys, and I don't know if I can really show it, but there is a Grove sensor connection in there, and a lot of the Meshtastic devices, you can actually get weather data off of it and then read it from your device. So, let me see, they have it up here. Nope. Hold on, let's see. Nope, that's the battery consumption. I don't know. But it's not a bad little device for the price. So, that's what I'm going to go with for the Meshtastic. And the idea also I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be taking one of these Raspberry Pi 4s, which have a PoE hat on them. I've had these like floating around my house for a few years because I use them for different projects. In fact, the bot you saw me run, that is running off a Raspberry Pi 4B. So, yeah. Anyway, so I'm going to be getting one of these Raspberry Pis over here. We're going to be setting it up with an MQTT relay, as a MQTT relay. What that means is, essentially, I'm going to be connecting this Raspberry Pi to the Ethernet to get network connectivity, and then I'm going to have the LilyGo T-Beam plug into this guy, and it's going to control the LilyGo. And then it's going to act as an internet gateway for this. I'm going to join it to a group in my city. So the idea is any Meshtastic within 3 or 4 hops can then connect to all the other Meshtastic devices that can go. So in MQTT, if somebody else is on a relay and they're in the same group, we can talk to each other just as if we're direct, so you can expand the network that way. But then if the internet goes out, I still have general Meshtastic capabilities, and the other advantage of the way I'm doing this is, so I'm going to have my outdoor node, right? And let's say, you know, I'm all the way in the basement. Potentially, what it could do is relay into the MQTT, which I'm probably going to stick in the attic, and then I will be able to grab that off another device down here. So let's say I have... Okay, I know I have another Meshtastic device around here. Why does everyone have to message me while I'm streaming? I love how that's how it works. Like, oh, nobody bothers me all day. Then I start doing something, and then everybody bothers me. Are you kidding me, TikTok? Live visibility restricted. Your live is not eligible because it redirects users to purchase products outside TikTok. Really? I can't even talk about hardware on TikTok. Guess I'll have to restart the TikTok feed over there. Can MCPs run offline and online? Yes, they can. I gotta restart the TikTok feed because apparently you're not allowed to show other technology on other sites. TikTok is a thing against education, apparently. Alright, let's restart the TikTok feed. That really annoys me. You know, I really have to say this before I actually get TikTok going. I hate the fact that TikTok is my biggest platform I'm on. I hate that platform so damn much. I do. It's so restrictive. Like, it's unnecessarily restrictive. It makes no sense whatsoever. There we go. Alright. So the TikTok is reset because TikTok guidelines are a beep. Hold on. I know how we can do this. Yeah. You know what? TikTok is a... You need to make a few LoRa Halo satellite for free internet. Yeah, I'm not doing that. Although amateur satellite operation is a thing in the ham radio community, and with my general class license, I totally could do that. Allegedly are. There is no alleged allegation. There is no allegedly about it. They totally are. They are a bit. I always forget I have the censor button. I should do that more often. Trying to help. There's no helping. Except getting me off that damn platform. Which, on that note, I'm on the green site, the red site, and the purple site. And speaking of which, that bot is working really well now. So I found out I accidentally was DOSing Google Gemini, which is why last stream the LLM function for my Raspberry Pi to give my live notifications. So for those of you that don't know, I built my own automation for when I go live to notify people on Discord, Matrix, Mastodon, and Blue Sky. It sends a message to all the platforms. So it also runs it through Google Gemini by looking at the stream title and then makes a headline for each platform. So last stream, I was like, why is it giving me generic messages? Well, it was simple because when I went to the logs, I found out that they rate limit it so you can only do 5 requests at a time. And I had it going boom, 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 boom. Like because of the retry, I had 50 attempts in 2 minutes, which used my quota up. That of my free plan. So I was like, okay, how do we fix this? So I set up staggered posts. So basically what it does is it'll post for each platform one at a time. So it'll asynchronously process. You see if it comes in like that 739, 739. So what it'll do is it'll process these in a batch of 3 and then do 4 batches of 3. But I love this bot that I set up for this because this is honestly the best streaming tool that I've had in a while. Oh yeah, you didn't even see that. So it automatically, as part of the bot that I have, it will refresh the page. So every few minutes, it'll do another check to make sure I'm live. If I'm still live, it will actually grab a new screenshot from the live feed. YouTube, it just has the thumbnail. But once the live is over, didn't work the last time because I killed the bot, it'll flip the card over. Stream ended. And then, you know, you can go right to the channel there. That was a fun little thing. Also, what can we use a Pi for a server, private server? So I'm trying to stop my ideas from... This is clever. Oh, so all of my automations you're seeing that I've shown you, these are all running on the Raspberry Pi. This is a Raspberry Pi. Hold on. Oh, of course, you're not able to find NeoFetch. Frickin' red. But, hold on. But yeah, you can see, Raspberry Pi, RPT, ARM64 right over there. But this is a Raspberry Pi, and if we look... I have all of these automations Dockerized right here. So right here we have the Discord bot I've been showing you. This is Star Demon, which is monitoring when I start something on GitHub, and then post to all the different platforms I mentioned. Discord, Matrix, Mastodon, Blue Sky, and Discord, Matrix, Mastodon, Blue Sky. Yeah, 4. I'm like, there's another. No, I don't use Twitter anymore. Because their API is so borked, and I've gone into it. $200 a month for the hobbyist plan? F that. Oh, if you want this, it's all open source. Go to my GitHub. Stream Demon is the thing I'm using here. That's for all of my posting. BoonTube Demon. It's saying unhealthy, but it's fine. I just got to change the health checks on it. That is my YouTube poster for all these. Install NeoFetch. I had NeoFetch. Well, I mean, I didn't install it. I was just trying to remember how NeoFetch... normally it just works, but I have to remember what the command is for sudo apt-get install NeoFetch. Oh, apparently they have a different setup for this. Hold on, let's see. Universal install. Do they not have one for the Git? Okay, we'll just do this. Really? You're gonna make me build it? Oh, really? This repo was archived? Yeesh. Debian apt-get install. Okay, well, whatever. Anyway. Trying to put MCP on a Pi, call it MC Pi. Funny. But, I don't know if I would put an MCP on a Raspberry Pi. I am going to be making an MCP server. Don't get me wrong. But I'm looking at having it on... So I'm looking at making an LLM server and a TTS server. So I already have the LLM server pretty much built, but I'm going to swap the motherboard and CPU for it probably this weekend. I have an NVIDIA 5060 Ti and an NVIDIA 3050 on it with 32 gigs of RAM, and I'm going to be beefing it up to a Ryzen 5500. The motherboard I had spare... It's kind of iffy. It was just a leftover I had laying around for a couple years, and I'm just going to be getting a Ryzen 5500, and then the board that I had was, well, the GPUs are like right on top of each other, so I'm getting a slightly larger motherboard so I can give it a bit more breathing room, and also having a PCI Express X1 slot extra off of those two, so that way I can put an Intel network interface card. I forget which specific one I got. I got a couple of inexpensive ones because Intel's just more reliable. Realtek kind of just annoys me, but yeah, a lot of the projects I've been showing y'all, it's over here. So, Typo Sniper is the typo squatting domain thing. I haven't gotten that Dockerized for running as a server yet. Eventually I will. Patch Gremlin is my automated system to alert me when I have when I have patches installed on my system. So as you can see, it'll say 9 non-security packages, but it will automatically do an update check every night at 2 o'clock. And then if I ever do install software, it'll also send a message there. But you can install that easily. I have it working for Debian, but it also is designed for working on rel types as well. Stream Demons over here, that's the for Kick, Twitch, and YouTube. When you go live, it can post to Blue Sky, Discord, Matrix, and or Mastodon. Boombox Demon sounds better. For what? Well, Boontube Demon is more of an homage to two things. One, it's a boon, and it's also it's just, like the YouTube boon tube, get it? Star Demon, pretty straightforward, but all these are on my GitHub if you do want to play with them. So Stream Demon and Star Demon actually are a few old projects. Stream Demon used to be called Twitch and Toot because originally when I was playing with Mastodon, there was no Twitch integration with Mastodon, so I made one. Now I've also overhauled all these, as I talked about in the last stream, for those of you that have not been around, to use Doppler secrets management. So I can actually show you this. If you notice, my environment file is pretty much empty. Bot token here, Discord owner. These are all the defaults. But then I have my Doppler secret manager, just the token there. I'm not showing that. And the way that works is I have that token set up with my projects. And I love this thing. I love Doppler. It's seriously my favorite secrets manager that I've used. And you can see I have all my projects over here. So if I ever need to change the secret, I can literally just go in. Which project was that? Yeah, that was Penguin Overlord. I can go in here and change it. So this is the development version. So when I'm running off my local machine, it's using these secrets. But when I'm in production on the Raspberry Pi, it's using these secrets. And there's also staging over here. So you can even, have it over here. So all I do is I change my environment. Scrapes the tube. I like the innovation. I gotta chat with you, man. Love the flow and value. My pleasure. You can also join the Discord and Matrix servers. I do hang around there. So this is pretty safe. MCP been shaking lately. Yeah, this is pretty safe. I run my own stuff. N8N is what I'm planning to run on my own boxes. Because they have a community run version. So, solar weather reports come in. This is what Penguin Overlord does. Solar weather reports, and a bunch of news feeds. So, like I was saying earlier on, you got your general news over here. You've got your known exploits and vulnerabilities, your KEVs. These are high priority things that if you see these, patch it immediately. You have your regular common vulnerabilities and exploits. You have cybersecurity news. You've got Apple, and Android news over here. Just rolled a little too hard. You've got tech news. Oh, what's that? Oh. Thank you. I got dinner. Oh, more shit? Okay. Thank you. Oh, that's the rice. Okay. Chief's token is funny. But yeah, you got tech news over here. You got gaming news. And these check constantly. U.S. legislation feed, so whatever's coming in, so you can see this is from House floor today. So this is actually what was presented on the House floor today. So look. Wasn't getting updates for a while because they were in a shutdown. But the reason why we're doing this is in cybersecurity, we got to be on top of all the legislation that's happening because compliance and regulation will change over time. And then vendor status alerts, that eventually is, well, I mean, it's technically live, but whenever a vendor has issues, and if by a vendor, I mean, I have the list over here of the ones I have. Zscaler, Avalor, Datadog, Amazon Web Service, Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud Platform, Cloudflare, Okta, JumpCloud, Duo, Delinea, Doppler, GitHub, GitLab, Atlassian, which is Jira, Confluence, Bitbucket, Trello, OpsStreaming, and a few others, Wiz and Tenable. When they start having issues, we should see an alert pop up in here. So when everyone's like, Duo, Cisco's Duo, you know, their identity provider. I figured some people are probably going to be using that. I can always add more ones to it. We've got XKCD bot in here. So if you look, we can post random comics in here. We've got a bunch of different things in here. So we have Patch Gremlin. These are little Easter eggs. Patch Gremlin says, I see you're running PHP 5.6. Bold strategy, Cotton. We have Cybersecurity Fortune. The best time to implement security was at design time. The second best time is now. We have Tech Quote. So you can get different tech quotes from different people. There's like 600 in here. And it'll randomly pull one. Or let's say you want a Linus quote from Linus Torvalds. There you go. You can get those. Or, you know, you got Stallman. Now, let's say you want to get the weather report right now for the solar weather so you can see. Okay, we got poor, you know, visibility with it and everything. But then, what was the command I gave it? Yes, we have a help menu. So then, oh, there we go. Radio map. So you can do DRAP or Aurora, but then you can do this for all the maps, and this will pull straight from NOAA. What's going on right now? Radio propagation maps for D region. You've got the Aurora forecast right now. You've got the solar X-ray flux. And then, of course, a little helper over there. I'm wondering how, is it beneficial to reset your tools agents? Kind of like taking a nap, no hallucinating? Depends. Or let's say you've been wanting to figure out, hey, what's the frequency of, say, LoRa? Boom. North America, Europe, Asia, you know, with Japan, Korea, and China setups. So you actually know what the bands are. You can even figure out what you're allowed to use in the US for ham radio on your class. So that's technician. There's a lot of little things I've been building into this. And then, let me see, we have the band plan. So let's say you want to be on the 10 meter band. You know what you're allowed to do on the 10 meter band. I built this because there was nothing that I saw out there that really did any of this, and I'm like, well then, I'm going to make my own, better, with hookers and blackjack. Okay, what did you put in general? When is the music bot named Boombox Demon? Funny. I may eventually do a music bot, but that's gonna have that's gonna need something that's gonna have to constantly run. Yeah, I'll have to figure that out. Cause I know the YouTube's kind of hard to figure out. well, not hard to figure out. YouTube is hard to pipe music through and do the playlists and all that. There was like, what was it, Groovy or something like that for a while. Oh yeah, we have, URL redirect maybe. We've got AV frequencies for aviation. So we've got some aviation facts in here. So you can even figure out the squawk codes. And you can get little random facts, or let's say you want to, you know, just get a fact about a random aircraft. B-2 Spirit. Also, another thing for the cybersecurity people. I'm still trying to get all the events loaded in. There's a CSV it reads off of. But I have a bunch of events in here, so different B-sides events, ham radio events, and of course, once we scroll over, DEF CON. Something remakes they could stream to your car. Yeah. Are you caught up with review on stream? I still gotta watch a few things, so not entirely. I just wanted to go over all the things that I've done so far with this. We've got signal intelligence as well. There's a lot in here. So you can do like, oh, you want to find out an SDR tool? It'll give you a little random tips there. We've got, oh yeah, frequency log. Forgot about that feature. So you can actually go the PIP, 5.448 megahertz on the upper sideband. Russian time signal station, distinctive PIP sound followed by voice announcements. So, lots of little features to help you out and tinker. Oh yeah, yeah. We also have man page, so it'll give you random Linux commands too. There's quite a few things in there. Utilities. I think that's pretty much what I've got in there for now. Can you give one-on-one class specific problems I got? Nope, we got the Discord server. You can hang out and vibe with a lot of us. There's quite a few people in the Discord. We're over a little 1,000, because I'm busy, seriously, most of the day, so we have that's why I have the Discord server, because I think, it's not that I'm opposed to helping people. The problem is I don't have enough bandwidth to give everyone the time that they deserve, and it's better to have a community. The one problem that I keep seeing, is specifically when you have like cybersecurity people and all that, too many of them are trying to like sell themselves as a service and then sell their course and things like that. There's a lot of grift out there. I think it's better for people to understand that they have a community and they should join a community, because no one should be dependent upon one resource. We as a community can all learn from each other, grow from each other, and all that. Does Discord use encryption? Only in voice chat with Dave? No. But my Matrix does have a encryption as an option. So, that's why I also have the Matrix server, in case people want to do that. Alright. So, I've got my dinner here because I was running behind. And we're gonna go into the review on stream stuff. Oh yeah, I've been improving the Pipewire Keep Alive tool, and so far it's been working pretty well to keep my device alive. So I've actually noticed when the audio kills on the computer, I no longer have to reboot. I just get like maybe a few seconds of silence at most, and then the watchdog kicks in and turns it back on. And then it's even re-hooking back into most applications, so I didn't have to restart most of the applications. So it worked out really nicely. That's just Pipewire Sync over on GitHub. I can show you that before we get into the YouTube and such videos. That's why we should go back to IRC. It has SSL after all. Discord, it has SSL. But IRC and Discord are not end-to-end encrypted. So if your argument is encryption is, well, just SSL, buddy, I got news for you. SSL and TLS is like bottom barrel. Like, that is bare minimum. Like, that is not even, that is encryption in transit, not encryption at rest. And that is not end-to-end encryption. That is completely bottom of the barrel. To the point, like, you have no excuse to not have TLS and SSL these days. That's how low bar it is. Google will actually de-rank your site if you don't have TLS SSL. So this is the Pipewire sync I was talking about. So the way this works is, this is a very niche issue. I have a 2 PC setup, so I need to combine my audio out into different places. So I have this little guy's actually a speaker, this little USB thing. But then we also have the onboard motherboard audio. We've got the NVIDIA putting out audio over the HDMI to the capture card. And we've got my Rodecaster bringing in the audio for both of them so I can get speakers and listen to the headphones and use the microphone on both machines at the same time. So I use Pipewire sync for that. The problem was when I made a combined sync, sometimes it would crash because USB devices, when they have their power settings, can kind of just go to sleep and it throws things wonky. So I actually made this little guy over here as a little watchdog to keep everything alive. So I can actually... This is my own little program I put together. See, Pipewire Pulse, Wire Plumber, my audio syncs are there running, the watchdog is running, and this starts on the system boot. Did you make a sound card driver? No, I just made a watchdog to keep everything alive. It's very simple, all things considered. It started off with a very, very basic, like, 6-line script, and then over time I improved it a little by little so that it had more features. The reason why it's this complex is I wanted to make it generic. Because originally it was much smaller when it was just running my device and I only had it tied to my device IDs, but I was like, other people are probably going to want to use that. So now it'll work in a hardware agnostic platform. So this is the main bread and butter of it. But then audio status is that tool I showed you. Then you have the Pipewire systemd service. And then you also have the reset USB audio service over here. So by default, it goes to a Rodecaster, but you can easily drop in your own stuff. So, yeah. Need that watchdog. Does it take notes and time span upon suspicions? It can. It's as simple as, you go to system control and then... Hold on. Oh, it's Pipewire Watchdog. It probably helps if I do status. Watchdog. Oh wait, is Pipewire combined? It's one of these two. Probably helps if I don't fat finger. Hold on. Did I not put that in? Oh, I moved it somewhere else. I gotta remember where I dropped it in. This is why you shouldn't install stuff when you have a few glasses of wine in. Yeah. But it's working! That is definitely worthy of a, hold on. But it is grabbing everything out. And you can see there is a watchdog over there. So hold on. System D. Hold on. Did I put it in here or did I put it? I put it in the system. The user stuff. I will track that down later, but basically it goes over here. I put it at my user profile because you ideally want the audio stuff running at the user level. Anyway. Wait. Maybe if I read my own documentation. Aha! High five past me. I actually did write documentation. So yeah, it's in .local. Why did I put it there? But yeah, all the documentation you pretty much need for this is here. Along with troubleshooting. Yeah, there's a lot you can do. And there you go. So there's that. Now let's get to the videos my mods wanted me to watch. So what's this? I know we watched this one. We watched that last stream. Rent AI scams. Okay. What's this?
Back in my day, we'd call this fraud. Now, you getting scammed by a landlord is just how the world works. AI has made it easier than ever for people and companies to generate whatever their brains can imagine. And it turns out that in the hands of Zillow zombies, it means they can make their houses look like their fantasies.
Ew.
And it's leading to people getting lied to about the state of so many properties. For those who can actually go tour in person, the lies will become immediately apparent and all they lost is their time. But for those who have to do things remotely, it's leading to having to undo a whole bunch of contracts. Images, videos, and more are all being digitally fabricated in order to make the properties look like they never have.
To scrape music lyrics for story context or
landlords have been found to also use AI to get
the right AI model
situations and make it so that rent and property values disassociate from reality even more. Back in my day, we'd call this fraud. Now you getting scammed.
There's that. Now let's see. HBX wanted me to look at this. EFF, my favorite nonprofit, teams up with AV Comparatives to test Android stalkerware detection by major antivirus apps. Ooh. Okay, AV Comparatives, if you're not familiar, they actually do compare antivirus at the consumer level primarily. Okay, we teamed up with the researchers of AV Comparatives to test the most popular antivirus product for Android and to see how well they detect the most popular stalkerware products in 2025. Stalkerware detection is still a mixed bag. Notably, Malwarebytes detected 100% of the stalkerware products we tested for. ESET, Bitdefender, McAfee, and Kaspersky detected all but one sample. This is a marked improvement over the 2021 test, which also found only one app with a 100% detection rate, GData, but the next best performing product had detection rates of 80 to 85%. Google Play Protect and Trend Micro had the lowest detection rates in the 2025 test at 53% and 59%. Yeah, so Google's failing at their own game. Did my alert not go off? Yeah, thank you for the follow, Tabby Max. I don't know why that did not go off. Interesting. Trend Micro goated. No, Trend Micro's not that good. They haven't been good in many years. There are fewer stalkerware products out there. In 2020 and 2021, AV Comparatives tested 20 unique stalkerware products from different vendors. In 2025, we tested 17. We found that many stalkerware apps are essentially variations of the same underlying product and that the number of unique underlying products appears to have decreased in recent years. That's actually a good note there, but the problem is, as they note, the popularity of small, cheap, Bluetooth-enabled physical trackers such as Apple AirTags and Tiles as an alternative method of location tracking may be also undercutting the stalkerware market. Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. Okay. And HBX also had this. Google Private AI Compute. Extending on-device privacy with the power of the cloud. Okay. Interesting. This is coming from Google. I don't believe it. We believe privacy is the foundation of personalized AI assistance. This from the company that literally collects more data on anyone else out there? Yeah. I'll believe that when me shit turns purple and tastes like rainbow sherbet. Classified AI computers not available to anyone other than the user, including Google. Hyperscalable private interface. Inference. Google's own custom tensor processing units. Interesting. So, their design approach. Okay, so they're trying to propose a whole idea. Ensure private telemetry and analytics. No such thing. I don't believe you, Google. I'm nervous about the global trade issues when everything is cloud-bound. Yeah. Okay, scalable model serving. This is just interesting. I just don't know if I really trust Google with this stuff. And its privacy and security threats to user data access. Zero shell access on hardened TPU platform. I mean, at the surface level, this sounds solid, but the problem is it's Google. I just don't believe that they're gonna, uphold this. They're gonna try to scroogle us. Just you wait. Okay, so Vampire wanted me to look at the Flipper 1. The latest cyber toy
is coming.
Looks like a boombox.
What's going on, you guys? We've got a Flipper 1 update for you. And as more and more information starts coming out about the Flipper 1, I'm having more and more concerns. And if you've watched any of my channel before, you know I absolutely love the Flipper Zero. I have a ton, like over 100 videos about the Flipper Zero.
It's a fun toy,
I've been back and forth about even making this video because I really love the Flipper Zero and I really love the Flipper Zero community. But I'm starting to think that the developers have completely lost their way. Today we're going to talk about all the new specs for the Flipper 1 so we understand exactly what it's all about. And we're going to bring it back to what made the Flipper Zero so special. And we're also going to talk about why I personally think that the Flipper team has abandoned their community, and they even went as far as to attack me personally on Twitter. Yeah, I'm going there. Let's get into it. All right, so let's hop directly into what you guys are all here for.
I'm curious why they did that.
So here we are down at Sapsan Cybersecurity Military at sapsan.splicktapool, and it just has a great overview on it, so we can check it out. So we can see that they've updated the entire form factor. We've got more buttons and a battery indicator over there. Same D-pad vibe, but this is like a window changer because, again, this is supposed to run what I've heard is a version of Kali Linux. Now, I do know that they were looking for developers for this project earlier, so who knows if they even have this thing done yet, but this is what it looks like. We have lights over here for LAN 1 and LAN 2, and it has Wi-Fi. Obviously, we have 4 buttons, a power button, and 2 buttons over there, which is pretty similar to the last view we saw, and the same little leash loop. We scroll down, we can get some more key information about it. Now, it is going to have a dual processor with an ARM chip, which is good, obviously. It's going to have a little bit better screen, 256 by 140 resolution, up by 128 by 64 from the old one. It's going to have an M.2 slot, and this is their expansion port. It also has has DisplayPort over USB-C, which means you can plug this into a TV or a monitor, which on paper sounds useful, but remember,
why?
this thing is supposed to be kind of a mobile device. I mean, plugging the Flipper Zero into a TV failed miserably. I cannot express to you how big of a flop the video game module was. I've made videos on it, tanked. Snorin's made videos on it, tanked. Nobody wants this functionality. Anyway, moving on. So, let's see. So the confirmed information is that, yeah, it does exist as a project. We know, we've been tracking it, and originally it did disappear. Flipper 1 was a project way back in like 2023. It was supposed to be, again, a Kali Linux thing running off of a Raspberry Pi with HDMI, and very similar idea to this. Now, what people didn't expect was that it was going to force you into only have expansion slots. This device, from what we can see, doesn't do anything. And that's why I think they've completely missed the base, and I don't think the Flipper Zero community is going to rally behind this device. It does say that it's retaining GPIO, but I don't know, and I can't tell if it's going to actually use the Flipper Zero boards, because if it can't use the Flipper Zero boards, what's the point? I mean, people have all these boards,
because even the Raspberry Pi
stuff
is backwards compatible.
Especially because if we scroll down here, we have, more pictures. The theoretical price point on this, seeing as how crazy the world's been since 2022 when the Flipper Zero came out, we're probably looking at $300 to $500 American for this device, with prices way outside of pretty much everybody's price point, unless you're a professional pen tester. Now, the problem that I also have is
and at that point, if you're talking $300 to $500, you may as well get like a tiny little laptop and have an actual screen and a keyboard. So, yeah, I think they're missing their market.
I don't think professional pen testers are going to use this either, because it's not a pen testing tool. Yeah, maybe you can plug in Nmap and things like that, but we have much better products for that. Because remember,
like
you
a full laptop.
Kali Linux on a cell phone, and everybody's got one of those. You probably got one sitting around that's not even being used. You could put Kali Net Hunter on it, and bam, you've got a...
I keep forgetting I should put Kali Net Hunter on this Pine phone over here. Actually, might be pretty good use for this little guy. This is pocket-sized. What do people use this for? It's a cybersecurity toy. The reason why I call it a toy, I have one around here somewhere. It's not gimmicky, it's just, it doesn't do anything unique. The novelty in it is that it can do a bunch of different tools in a more compact size. But you can do everything that a Flipper Zero does with individual modules for a few dollars a piece. You know, NFC, RFID, infrared, Bluetooth, well, it doesn't even have Wi-Fi built in, so you have to add an expansion little guy through the GPIO for Wi-Fi anyway. Spam texts. Freaking marketers.
Kali machine with a full color touchscreen, and you could use like easier typing. It would be so much easier, and you already have that device. So now we have the comparison, which I think is super useful for the sake of explaining what I was getting at here. It's got a custom color display versus the 1.4 monochrome display, which is effectively the same thing, just with like better resolution. The Flipper 1 has physical buttons, and the other one has the 5-way D-pad. It's kind of tomato, just more buttons, yay. The processor is, they still don't really know what the processor is. I heard they were trying to get some custom processor, which just means it's gonna be even harder to code for this thing. Battery information, not disclosed. It's gonna have a replaceable M.2 slot, which again means you're gonna have to plug everything in. You want NFC, gotta plug it in. You want sub-gigahertz, gotta plug it in. You want IR, plug it in. You get what I'm getting at here? The Flipper Zero was amazing because it was plug and play out.
Not only that, if it's M.2, it's not hot swappable. You're going to have to turn the device off to replace the module, to plug it back in. That's annoying.
out of the box, do whatever you want. The Flipper one is $400, $300, $500, I don't care, but it doesn't do anything. Sure, it's got USB-C with DisplayPort, but again, plugging into monitors, no one cares. And yeah, it's supposed to run some sort of Linux, but that means they're also going to be running something on top of it to make it work with the interface for Flipper Zero. They were looking for devs, who knows if they got them. It's just a big mess. Now, I do have some more photos of this over here. This is the prototype pictures off of Pavel's Telegram, and you can see the back of it. That's your GPIO, so unless they have like a Flipper Zero board on the bottom, the GPIO there, this doesn't have it. Now, it does look like it's got a spot for SMA, so there's an antenna. That's kind of cool.
That's kind of nice.
Again, you can do antennas with GPIO boards. We all have antennas on our Flipper Zeros now. You can also see, again, just because of the design of the back where the M2 slot was going to be right there, it definitely won't have onboard anything. NFC, it's just going to be add-ons. So right out of the box, completely useless. But you know what's not useless is this segue to today's sponsor, PCBWay. PCBWay is your one-stop shop for all things PCB design, manufacture.
Okay, not hating on PCBWay. I like them. They sponsored one of my projects for my mini laptop too. They're a great company. Don't get me wrong. If you need to design a lot of projects and stuff like that, they're great. They worked with me on my CNC of my aluminum backplate.
Thank you so much to PCBWay for your continued support. You guys are awesome. Let's get back at it. So the weird thing about the Flipper dev team is it seems like once they dropped the Flipper Zero and the Wi-Fi dev board, they kind of just decided to go in completely different directions. If you look in the past at things like the Flipper Nano and the video game module, it seems like they really don't know where to go from here. Case in point right here, this is the busy bar. No one understands this project. Literally no one understands it.
What is this?
Anybody, at least in the Flipper Zero community, really wants it. It's literally just a Pomero, I can never know how to say it. It's just a timer that goes on your computer screen and tells people that you're busy. I can't imagine how this is going to increase your productivity. You're saying, oh, it's going to help people with ADHD. No, it's not.
We have away messages on every IM thing. I literally have an away message on Teams at work saying, more or less, don't just send me random hi messages. And for the sake of my sanity, if this can be a ticket, please submit a ticket.
I'm going to spend 45 minutes messing with this machine to get it to say what I want it to do with custom fonts and all this stuff, and then I'm never, ever, ever going to touch it again. That's what I'm saying. I think they've completely lost touch with the community. And here's another example. Let's go down here. This is the Flipper Zero
This is more
GitHub,
useful.
so we can see all the stuff down here. And then let's scroll down to releases. April 22nd.
Oi.
That's like half a year ago. They haven't done a single update to Flipper Zero in 6 months. And honestly, that just feels criminal. They've completely left their entire community just out to dry. Now, the custom firmware guys have been out there. Momentum, Willie, those guys are absolutely awesome, and they're still trying to push the envelope of what the Flipper Zero can do. But without the actual Flipper Zero devs on board, it kind of feels like we're out here just on our own. And then we get to Flipper Zero and their Twitter team. That really rubs me the wrong way. Hold on, where is that?
Hi kids, welcome to Talking Sasquatch.
Hack the planet, but don't be a skid.
Talking Sasquatch, we'll be right back.
Okay, here, I posted this on Twitter when I dropped the Meow Kit. It says, simply, can the Meow Kit dethrone Flipper Zero as the king of hacking tools? Video and comments. Super common, this is what we do on Twitter. We hype stuff up, we ask a question, curiosity gap, rinse and repeat. That's literally how everything works on Flipper Zero. But Pavel seemed to have gotten a bit butthurt by this, because he's like, wow, another Flipper Zero killer. How good is their NFC, 125 kilohertz RFID, and sub-gigahertz frequencies? Oh, it doesn't have it. Only Wi-Fi and BLE spam. So
This kind of reminds me of the vibe I got from the Graphene OS developers when I was dealing with them, merely because a while ago, I have it here, this was the hyped phone, the Librem 5. And I merely had mentioned this, that I said I was waiting for it while I got my Graphene OS phone set up for DEF CON 31. This was on Mastodon, by the way. The developers got into it with me, where I was like, dude, I'm just, like, reviewing this device. Everyone has a different threat model. You know, Graphene OS doesn't run on every phone. Not everyone has access to a Pixel, you know, because there's many places in the world you can't get a Pixel. So I was looking at alternatives for different people to look at. So yeah, I do not like it when a company goes and bashes another company to make themselves feel good. Because here's the thing. If you have a really great product, stand on your own capabilities and, accolades and all of that. But if you have to beat someone down as to why you're better, you're actually worse in my mind. It's very similar to like politics, how I tell people back in the 2016 election, because Trump and Hillary are both horrible in different ways. And my argument simply was, convince me to vote for your candidate without mentioning the other. Neither side could do it. But the point being of what I was just saying there is, different products have their place in the market. And if you're a salesperson and you go around and you're bashing another product out there unnecessarily, then that gives more of a worse perception on you and your product than it does about your competitor. That's all I'm saying.
Such a hacker, so much pen test. I have literally supported the Flipper Zero my entire YouTube
Yeah, I heard they're making
career. I've made
Graphene OS
hundreds
for
of
more
videos on
phones.
Flipper Zero, and quite honestly, I've probably sold.
Sorry, I'm pausing for a sec. The reason why they're doing that, as we talked about, the Android open source project is no longer being shipped with the drivers for the Pixel, which was primarily the reason why it was so easy for Lineage, Graphene, and Calyx to develop for the Pixel phone. And since Google stopped doing that, it's no longer an argument of, well, it's easier to dev for a Pixel and it has everything we need. Now it is just as difficult to make Graphene OS work on any other phone. So now we may as well expand our offerings. And to be honest, Graphene should have looked for partners a long time ago, because there needs to be other solutions other than getting a Pixel, because let's look at it this way. In order for Graphene OS to be installed, you can't just go to T-Mobile or Verizon or AT&T and get their pre-flashed their pre-flashed Pixel OS phone. You have to get a vanilla version. I learned this because I bought a T-Mobile, when I was with T-Mobile many years ago. I'm no longer with them. I bought a Pixel 7a from them. I could not get Graphene OS installed. Had to return it, go to Google, use my Google account to buy a Google Pixel, which means there is very few ways that one person could go in without giving your information to Google in some way, shape, or form to buy a Google Pixel. And that's if you have the availability to do it. You see what I'm getting at? That's the problem I had with Graphene OS's approach. It's like, okay, great, the hardware is, all that great. I understand your point of view from that. But you still have to deal with Google to get the phone, because you're working with vanilla versions of Google Pixels to be able to work with it.
Thousands of Flipper Zeros from these videos. Why are you coming after me? And it's
Right.
not even that. I don't even care, honestly, that much. But I started looking at other posts, and I'm like, if he's doing this to me, what else is going on? And I'm assuming Pavel's the one at the reins on the Flipper Zero Twitter. If not, whatever, but still. Here's another one. Somebody's like, thinking about getting a Flipper Zero. Have you used one? This is not recommended. Somebody's like, but they look so fun. It's not for everyone, man. Save your money. It's too expensive. Better invest in crypto. Like, what the hell is going on here? Somebody's actually asking about a Flipper Zero, and they're being a complete... I'm sorry.
What the hell?
This is insane. This is how you treat your community? And that's not it. There's even more. So if we go down to here, this is somebody showing off their Flipper Zero with a dual Marauder on there. So it's a really cool thing. It makes
Fun
it
little
look really
setup.
cool. So yeah, that's a really interesting thing, right? Nope. Wow, much antennas, such hackers. And I don't know, maybe I'm overreacting, but it seems like this person's out there promoting your product for you on Twitter, which you should be like actively encouraging people to do instead of putting snarky comments like this in there. I don't know. Now, not all of the Flipper Zero devs I think poorly of. Actually, I think it's really really only Pavel. He's been completely disconnected the entire time. In fact, until that one time, he had never ever actually talked to me. Nobody from the Flipper team has ever talked to me except for Wrench, who's the community manager. Now, sorry, not to get into some big rant here, but I do personally feel like the Flipper team has completely abandoned their community. They're no longer really looking out for them. They're just trying to make something new that they think is going to be a great product, but they're not listening to their own community.
Yeah, I've been feeling that way for the Pixel.
The Flipper one should be more of a yes
for a while.
and instead of a no but. What sounds better on paper? What's the Flipper 1? Oh, it's the Flipper 0, but it's got an ESP32 on it for Wi-Fi testing. Hey, guess what? It's even got 5G de-authing, and it's got a color screen, so many more features, and it runs even faster. Or, what's the Flipper 1? Oh, it's like the Flipper 0, but like you have to plug everything into it. It runs Kali, but it's got a crummy screen. It's hard to navigate because it's running full-on Linux with no keyboard, and it's $500. Come on, guys, it's not that hard. Like, you know what devices I'm actually excited about? Things like the BLE Shark Nano and the Nyan box. These things actually do new, cool stuff. All right, so that's enough ranting for me. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Catch you next time.
I will say the U console is one thing that I did see in person that I liked at DEF CON. I want to pick one up and put some antennas on it, turn it to SDR and all that, but yeah. Okay, so let's see the Steam hardware announcement.
Hey everyone, this is Steam Deck. Steam Deck is our powerful, portable, handheld gaming PC that lets you take your Steam library with you anywhere. We're pretty proud of it. People who own Steam Decks have been playing everywhere, and we couldn't be happier with the response we've heard from all of you.
Not because I hate it.
We're excited to talk about the future of Steam Deck, but not today, because this isn't a video about the future of Steam Deck. This is a video about the future of Steam hardware. Today, we're announcing 3 new members of the Steam hardware lineup. All connect you with powerful PC gaming. All are optimized for gaming with Steam, and all are shipping in early 2026.
Oh, really?
Let's start with
That's
this one.
pretty recent. I mean, pretty soon.
This is the new Steam controller.
Ooh, I
The
like
new
it.
Steam controller puts all of your Steam games at your fingertips, so you can play wherever and however you want. Just like with Steam Deck.
So I like that because the last Steam controller... Do I have it around here? I should have it around here. Hold on. Time for show and tell, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Where the hell did I put it? I know it's around here. Here it is. So, this is the Steam controller. It's a fun little device. Don't get me wrong. But the thing I hated about this was there was only the one thumbstick. And then you had these pads over here. It just didn't feel natural. But I liked the feel of this controller. It felt really nice. It did. Compared to, say, the Xbox controller. But the Xbox controller had 2 thumbsticks. And I loved it. And both of these worked flawlessly out of the box with Linux. Didn't have to do anything for them. And they work with Steam. That was my only complaint with the Steam controller. I'd probably buy this controller.
We want you to be able to play any game with your Steam controller, even games never built with a controller in mind. It has all the great features from Steam Deck, like trackpads, gyro, and back buttons, all in a comfortable form factor. Its next-generation magnetic thumbsticks let you play with improved responsiveness and longevity. We've put capacitive touch sensors on the thumbsticks and now on the back of the controller too, so you can enable precision gyro aiming with the touch of your thumb, or your pinky if you're feeling fancy. Play for way too long with a rechargeable lithium-ion battery that allows for over 35 hours of playtime. With Steam Controller, we want to make charging and wireless pairing something that's actually easy. That's why we created the Puck. The Puck is a combination wireless adapter and magnetic charger included with every Steam controller. Snap it on to charge. Once you're charged up, snap it off again. You can play over Bluetooth or a wired connection too.
I like that so much more because the reason why I had the Xbox 360 wired was I always ran into the situation of my wireless controller would be in the middle of dying, and then you'd kind of have to, you could plug it in and charge with it, but then it kind of got wonky sometimes, and you know, then you'd like, it just didn't feel like the best fit. So like the wired was just always the way to go for me. This looks like it could be the best of both worlds compared to the Xbox.
The new Steam controller works with any device running Steam or Steam Link, whether it's a PC, Mac, handheld, smartphone, Steam Deck, or the new Steam Machine. Oh, this is the new Steam Machine. Steam Machine is a powerful gaming PC in a small but mighty package. Designed for your gaming is a powerful gaming PC in a small
Can we customize the front? That is actually a nice touch if that is the case.
but mighty package. Designed for your games on the big screen. It's quiet too, which is crazy since it's 6 times more powerful than a Steam Deck. Powered by a discrete, semi-custom AMD GPU, enabling 4K gaming at 60 frames per second with FSR. Steam Machine runs SteamOS made for a bigger screen, built for gaming in your living room, your office, or wherever you play, with the rest of your PC accessories. Steam Machine borrows some great features from Steam Deck.
Let's see what they got for the I/O. It looks like you got a display port, HDMI, AC cord in there, Ethernet, 2 USB-A ports, and a C port.
Like lightning fast sleep and wake, an SD card slot to easily expand your
Oh,
storage.
nice!
And bring some new tricks of its own, like a customizable LED strip, which can show different system functionalities, or your own light show. Steam
That is
Machine
kind
is
of a
PC,
nice little fun
so run
touch.
whatever software you want, and it works with all your favorite desktop and gaming accessories. Steam Machine is designed to work hand in hand with the Steam controller, with the low latency, wireless connectivity of the Steam controller puck built right in. And it's great for streaming your games to your phone, tablet, laptop, Steam Deck, or Steam Frame. Oh, yep, this is Steam Frame.
Okay, so what is this?
Steam Frame is Valve's next-generation VR hardware. Stream all your Steam games, VR and non-VR alike, in this comfortable, lightweight, wireless VR headset. Steam Frame uses camera-based tracking, so getting into your games is as easy as slipping on the headset and waking it up. Steam Frame controllers, included with the headset, are designed with all the inputs you need for your VR titles, like motion controls and capacitive tracking for all your fingers, as well as a split gamepad layout to work with your whole Steam library. They even
Okay.
feature the same magnetic thumbsticks as Steam controller for responsiveness and longevity. Steam Frame also pairs seamlessly with the new Steam controller, a great companion for playing non-VR games in the headset. To make sure streaming is smooth and stable no matter what, Steam Frame includes a wireless adapter that lets you stream your games from
Oh,
your
nice.
PC to your headset over a fast and dedicated Wi-Fi 6 connection. And the game is streamed to your frame optimized for VR, using new technology that allows for the highest resolution streaming exactly where your eyes are looking. And Steam Frame is a PC, running SteamOS. In addition to streaming,
Interesting.
you can install and play a bunch of VR and non-VR games right in the headset without a host PC. You can also expand your onboard storage to fit even more games with a micro SD card. Steam controller, Steam
Yeah,
Machine, and
Microsoft
Steam
is
Frame,
screwed.
all built with the same DNA as Steam Deck.
They've been
all
screwed for a
powered
while,
by
but-
Steam, work together, and can be used however you'd like with whatever peripherals and accessories you choose. Everything you see here is the culmination of what we've learned from our previous hardware experience and what we've wanted ourselves as gamers. Powerful PC gaming in an open ecosystem, giving you more ways to enjoy the games you love and discover new ones. Steam Controller, Steam Machine, and Steam Frame are all shipping in early 2026. Learn more at steampowered.com/hardware.
I want that controller for sure. Maybe consider the Steam Frame, but I've never been a VR person. The Steam PC, though, I don't know if I would get it. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying for what I do and what I need, it's probably not going to be enough. But that's a me thing. Because I actually do workstation stuff on a virtual machine and stuff like that. If I get the VR headset, you know I'm gonna be in the movie theater world. Yep. So this is what happens when you let the open source community help. Oh yeah, and you know what's amazing is
announcing
people. How many people keep coming to me and they're like, "Well, you know, we can't do VR on Linux," and I'm like, "Yes, you can." Valve Index, and I think it's what HTC has that. I think Gamers Nexus had a video on it. I wanted to go through that. I didn't really listen to it because I was in the middle of coding while it happened. I just had background noise. So let's see the video. Oh, I didn't even finish it. That's good. Okay, we're probably going to save this video for next time because it's a little bit long. Just gonna save that for next time. Isn't Quest VR running Android as the OS? I don't know, is it? I'm not a big VR person, so you're gonna have to forgive me if I don't know the specifics about everything. I just know of the Valve Index because when I was looking into it, I know that I immediately was like, hey, yeah, I definitely would like to throw Valve some more money, and I'm like, if they're running Steam OS and they have the Steam Deck, I'm like, it's pretty much guaranteed it's going to work on Linux, and it does. I know a few people that use it. Yes, Quest is running Android VR. Is running Android. I have a lot of free VR games in my library that I can't play unless I use VR. I know that for... Okay. Okay, that's interesting. But yeah, I definitely want the Steam controller. Now the thing is, I'm not a controller gamer. I'm not. Even though I have a controller. But there are some games that need a controller. And there are certain times when I use a controller in a game. Like, you have seen me where I will switch from a keyboard to a controller when I get in a car in a game, like in Mafia or Grand Theft Auto and stuff. Which, by the way, I'm going to be setting up dedicated days that we're going to be doing gaming on Linux. I've just been coding and tinkering too much. Hey, thank you for the follow, Money. Money Pro, thank you. Appreciate the love. Okay, so this is the TV encryption update, the FCC vote. So we've been monitoring this for a little while. For those of you that are not aware, ATSC 3.0 is a new over-the-air TV standard, and there's been a consortium of TV stations and stuff that are trying to allow trying to force encrypted TV, or at least DRM, that they could potentially yank somebody's DRM license and not have them view TV and stuff from those stations. It's a whole janky thing. Well, the FCC's been weighing in on this, and a lot of people actually have complained to the FCC about this. So we're gonna see.
Hey everybody, it's Lon Seib, I've got an update for you all on the status of our fight against over-the-air television encryption. In case you're new to this topic, the nation's broadcasters are trying to lock down their signals so that you can't watch TV in a flexible manner off of an antenna for free. They'd rather have you subscribe to services where they can charge you big-time retransmission fees. And we collectively have been fighting this in the FCC's docket on this topic for the last 2 years or so. And all of this effort culminated with a visit to the FCC that Tyler the Antenna Man and I did back in August, where we brought your concerns directly to them. And you can watch videos where we both outline the presentations that we made to the FCC's Media Bureau. And a few weeks ago, the FCC issued a draft order where they really heard what we had to say pretty loud and clear.
I watched that video on stream.
Included a lot of what all of us have brought to them in that order, and the broadcast industry has a lot to answer as this process continues. And it's good to see the FCC really taking time to think about
November. Hope you
all
are
of these
too.
important
Is it
questions that we
Atreyu?
have raised. So in
I
this
said that
video,
right.
we're going to take a look at what comes next, what you should be thinking about and planning for, because we will need to keep filing some things on the docket to make sure that our voices are heard. Now, before we jump into this topic, though, I do want to let you know that this video is being brought to you by all of you. That includes everyone who watches and subscribes to this channel on a regular basis. It also includes those of you who have contributed to the channel, either through my donor box page at lon.tv/support, through the YouTube membership program, through Floatplane, or the Patreon that I've got set up. Additionally, I want to thank all of you who have clicked on the super thanks every once in a while. And of course, we've got the merch store down in the shelf there, so you can pick up a coffee mug or something like that as well. All of that helps keep the lights on around here. So let's dive into this topic now. And for the most part, what this meeting did is it approved what we talked about a couple of weeks ago. Nothing major is changing at the moment. Basically, what the FCC has done is indicated their desire to end the simulcasting requirement, which means that if some station is broadcasting ATSC 3.0 signals, they would no longer have to simulcast that on 1.0. That is not yet the law of the land, but they're asking the public and the broadcasters if that's something everyone would be okay with.
That would require us all to get new hardware again
in the filing
for over
that
the air.
Their desire is to end the simulcast requirement. I personally don't think many stations will take them up on it because the adoption rate for ATSC 3 tuners is so low, but who knows? And that was one of the big things that they were asking.
Even I don't have one.
It was also good to hear that 2 of the 3 FCC commissioners were concerned about what they're hearing from the public. Have a listen.
While next-gen television has already demonstrated its potential, it has also surfaced new technological, marketplace, and regulatory challenges. This item does not avoid those challenges, it addresses them directly. As we move forward, we must stay focused on advancing the public interest in both the specific details and the broader regulatory picture.
There are additional thorny questions that the Commission is going to have to address. Consumers are clearly concerned about the use of encryption technologies, also referred to as digital rights management. This impacts both whether audiences will be able to continue to enjoy free over-the-air television as they do today, and the impact of privately established standards on the equipment market. Technology should not be a bottleneck to innovation.
And I should note that the vote that those commissioners took was unanimous, so all 3 of them, the 2 Republicans and the Democrat, all voted in favor of this order to get the process moving along a little bit further. But for the most part, this order basically opens up another public comment round, and there are some key questions that the Commission wants answers to. The big one, of course, is whether or not how they are currently implementing DRM is even legal. There was some pointed questions in the document that we covered last time when we talked about this. What they said in their filing here is that the Commission, the FCC, anticipated that free over-the-air programming would be intended to be received by all members of the public. It would not require a contractual agreement between the broadcasters and the viewers. And they seek comment on whether the current 3.0 encryption regime, as administered by the A3SA and implemented by broadcasters, constitutes broadcasting within the meaning of the Communications Act. It's a very tough question for.
Doesn't matter, they don't make TV shows make it worth subscribing. It's not about subscribing. This is over-the-air TV. You don't need a subscription for this. The idea being over-the-air TV is just that. It's over-the-air. It's freely accessible for anyone. So think about, you have news of local emergencies, stuff like that. You know, getting to know what's going on in your local neighborhood, that's still one of the biggest ways to access it. Even I've been looking at getting back to over-the-air TV for myself, because sometimes the internet goes out, and it's nice to have something. So you don't have to subscribe, it's just a matter of you have to have the hardware to accept it. But if you're required to have ATSC 3.0 hardware and the adoption is low, it's also going to make it more expensive, because there was a shift, I think it was 2000, I want to say it was like 2007, 2008, somewhere around there, when we did the DTV switch, and a lot of analog TVs stopped working because we had to get these DTV tuners, or was it the ATSC 1.0, if I recall. Well, now if they do this and then they have a certificate that you have to install to view content, then that means it's less accessible because, you know, like they showed, like they had an iPhone over there. They could control TV that you already have access to being viewed on certain devices. It's not right.
For the broadcasters to answer, and I'm very eager to hear what they plan to say when the comment period opens on this one. Additionally, the commission wants to know, should the FCC regulate DRM or should the A3SA, a private industry organization, do it? The broadcasters, of course, want the
FCC should
regulate. To be regulating it, but the FCC may have other ideas. The FCC is also asking, do we need privacy rules for ATSC 3? Should they adopt DVR and recording rules in regulation as opposed to the industry just putting out some rules that they could change any time? And there was some talk in this docket about fair use, things that we don't typically see in FCC documentation. They are contemplating here, which is great because so much of what we have brought to them is in this document, like we talked about a few weeks ago. There's also questions on whether or not they should eliminate the simulcast rule. Should the FCC mandate 3.0 receivers on televisions? Should taxpayers fund a tuner program to subsidize tuner adoption? And should they allow MPEG-4 on 1.0 broadcasts? Now, a lot of these questions are...
I'm going to pause for a second. So they actually did a tax incentive a few years ago when they did the initial DTV push. So I remember I had a few relatives, and we also had this in our house because we had over-the-air TV as a backup in case cable or whatever went out. We had the TVs at the time that only had the analog tuner. So we went to Radio Shack, this tells you how long ago it was, and we had FCC coupons. The FCC gave us basically a rebate to buy these DTV boxes. So you had to have a DTV box in between your antenna to be able to get over-the-air TV on an analog TV. So essentially what they're asking for is, should the taxpayers subsidize the adoption? And honestly, I don't see the need to go to ATSC 3.0. But if we do require it from the FCC level, then I think the FCC should subsidize it, because that is an incurred cost that a lot of Americans shouldn't have. And a lot of people, believe it or not, especially those on fixed income, think lower income people, people on Social Security, over-the-air TV is still used in a lot of areas, believe it or not. That's an expensive, you know, thing to think about, because these ATSC 3.0 tuners are not that cheap compared to the 1.0s.
For the industry, but there's no reason why we can't answer them as well. And so what's going to happen here is when this comment period opens, we will have the opportunity once again to start filing
DTV is aerial
docket. Now there are going to be two components
regular
to the
antenna
comment period. One is going to start 60 days from the publication in the Federal Register of this notice. It hasn't been published yet, and the government shutdown might be delaying things, but once that gets published,
DTV is just digital TV. It's
so initially
TV
you can
signals
comment for 60 days.
digitally.
And then there is a reply period that runs for another 30 days. So you have the opportunity to rebut what others may have said on the docket. So where do we come in here? Well, the most important thing you can do is answer the questions and relate your personal experiences. One of the things that I suggested we think about doing in this next round is submitting photos of us next to our TVs, not playing back the content.
See, this is exactly what we're talking about could happen with ATSC 3.0 with DRM protections. See, content protection required. So if your TV doesn't have the hardware, it won't be able to play the video, even though it's technologically capable of playing it. Because it's not able to have a license. Well, it may not technologically because it doesn't have the decoder, but in many cases, what was it? The HD Home Run. It's a TV tuner. You can plug over the network. And I was looking at it myself to put in my house for my analog TV needs. I was going to have an antenna come in the house, coax go to my room, and then have the coax also go down after a split to the network rack, run an HD Home Run there, plug that into the network. But apparently, HD Home Run, unless I'm mistaken, but last I checked, didn't have the codecs or DRM to be able to play that content, even though it is actually technologically capable. They just haven't been allowed the license for it.
That we are trying
Licensed
to
by the
play
private
back.
company,
And of
not
course,
FCC.
Currently on ATSC 1.0, I can watch TV with my HD Home Run Gateway tuner on any device in my home with a screen.
There you go.
On ATSC 3.0,
Exactly what I was talking about.
the channel is encrypted. This is what I get. It is a regression, and this is something the commission was quite interested in when we presented to them back in August. Now, another thing, though, I would think would be important to the commission is for us to rebut anything that the industry is saying that is not true. And let me give you an example of a rebuttal that I just made the other day on LinkedIn. Now, although this just happened on LinkedIn, I do believe it's important to point out falsehoods wherever you see them. And in this instance here, Mark Aiken, who's an executive with Sinclair and one of the people who's been pushing very hard for the encryption of the
Just in general, you know,
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
I'm not a fan of Sinclair.
public airwaves, put up this fact sheet in response to somebody else who was favoring a competing technology called 5G television. And in the post he was responding to, the initial poster was indicating
You just
that
came in
ATSC
after we
3
watched the
doesn't
Steam
work on
hardware
phones.
announcement.
It largely doesn't work on phones, but Aiken here says something different. He says that it works on devices today, including feature phones, smartphones, tablets, USB-C dongles, gateways, TVs, and set-top boxes. But everything he's saying here is categorically false. There is not a phone on the market that you can just pull out and tune into ATSC3 signals. There are not multiple USB-C dongles that he's talking about here in this post. There is one from a company called ADTH, and it only works with like 1 or 2 set-top boxes and TVs on the market. Everything else I plugged it into did not work, and other reviewers had similar experiences with that device. But the big lie here is about gateway devices, because there is not a single gateway device outside of a lab that can play back DRM content and put it out on your network.
And that's one of my concerns.
Like current gateway boxes can do with the ATSC.
I'm waiting to see how this debate shakes out for my own over-the-air TV needs.
The makers of HD Home Run as a manufacturer of one of these compatible devices, yet Aiken's company Sinclair, Pearl TV, and the A3SA have been shutting that company out of DRM decryption. It's gotten so bad that the president of Silicon Dust had to go to the FCC to tell them what was going on with all of this DRM nonsense. So,
you know what this is? This is a prime example of...
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
That's a prime example of it.
What I did here in a rebuttal to a LinkedIn post was I pointed out the falsehood. I took a picture of my phone, which was unable to play back a channel on my encrypted lineup, and put it up on the post, and also put it into a few replies that were also out there. And this is why it's so important that whenever they say something that's not true, whether it's on the docket or in a place where you can reply publicly, it's important to respond with the truth.
Never trust an executive.
People need to see that this stuff they're putting out there is just outright false. I don't know if he knows that he's lying. Maybe he believes it's true because somebody told him it was true. But whatever the reason here is, consumers are not able to do things that the industry says we can. And that's why we've got to point this stuff out. Now, I did file another rebuttal on a different topic on the official docket. And I did this after Sinclair and Pearl TV met with the FCC to request that they mandate the inclusion of ATSC3 tuners on new televisions. This was in direct contradiction to the position these organizations took just a couple of years ago when they urged the FCC to stay out of the mandate game here. And I pointed that out in my response, and I also used that opportunity to remind the commission that the reason why people are not adopting ATSC3 hardware is that the DRM makes it very difficult to manufacture affordable tuners, and that many are just not getting into the market because it is too cumbersome to do so due to the DRM. And so this is the kind of stuff that we need to be mindful of now as we're getting into the home stretch of this effort. Now, I'm setting up an email list, which you can find at lon.tv/rapid response. If you put your email in here, I'm going to keep an eye on the docket, and when I see them filing falsehoods, I'm going to let you know about it so that you can go and post some examples of what your consumer experience is versus what they are saying. And a great example, I think, is what I just showed you with that LinkedIn post where you've got somebody from the industry saying, hey, our stuff works on phones, when I've got the receipts that shows it does not. So that's something to sign up for, and we'll keep an eye on things as the docket gets going. You can head over to lon.tv/FCC instructions to learn how to post on the docket when the time comes. And I will let you all know when the stuff gets published in the registers so that we can all get moving once again on this. I will also make a video, a quick one, demonstrating how to file on the docket in case you're having trouble or prefer to see it.
It is a little confusing dealing with FCC complaints.
That will do it for this one, but this is what is currently happening with our effort here. Again, this vote just kind of moved things along. There wasn't a lot new since we talked about that draft filing from a few weeks ago, but things are going to start picking up again, and this new chairman of the FCC, rightfully so, is trying to move things along a lot quicker in this agency. I think that's very good. So we got to stay on our toes, though, because he's going to want to move this along quickly, and we need to be getting our responses and our opinions to the commission in a very timely manner once that publication hits the Federal Register. So sign up for that email list, and I will keep you all posted as things keep moving along here. And until next time, this is Lon Seidman. Thanks for watching.
Yep. So that's the story with the encrypted TV and everything there. Alright, let's at least get one last video in. I've been wanting to watch this Brody Robertson video on the GTK2. Which is...
I feel like it wasn't that long ago we were talking about distros cleaning up the last of the Python 2 packages. Python 2 is a project that held on for a very long time.
Yeah.
Because a lot of things relied on it because there wasn't really a proper migration strategy, and Python 2 and Python 3 are basically not the same language, so it wasn't exactly an easy migration, and by the end of it, basically the only thing that was left was GIMP 2 because of the plugin system that needed it. But GIMP 3 was basically right around the corner, and it's out now, and it's not a problem anymore. Plus, you could use GIMP in the Flatpak, and then you would have Python, and it wouldn't be an issue. So at least for that, it wasn't exactly crucial to keep it around. There are a few other things hanging on, but a lot of those things probably could have been pushed out anyway. But when it comes to GIMP, there was another version 2 that project was using. And now that we have GIMP 3, and now this is no longer the case, this package is also being pulled from Arch Linux, or I guess has been pulled from Arch Linux, that being the GTK2 framework. But unlike Python 2, there wasn't as dedicated of a push to get rid of it, right?
Nope.
Like Python 2, initially there wasn't a good migration strategy, and there wasn't that much of a push.
It was a
But
mess.
towards the end there was, but with GTK2, it's in a very different state.
So here's the funny thing about Python. I've only really written in Python 3. I've never really written in Python 2. I have used a lot of Python 2 apps, but I started really writing with 3. So looking at some Python 2 stuff, it kind of does look like an alien language.
There are people that are still actively using GTK2 and still swear by it. There are forks of GTK2, and it's a very different situation. So unlike with Python 2, there has been a bit of collateral damage. This was announced over on the Arch Linux mailing list. Remove GTK2 from the official repos. This was announced on October 23rd, but things have kind of been continuing on since then. I think we've reached the point where we can remove very old GTK2 packages from the official repositories. I recently dropped the GTK2 version of LXDE, and there are only a few applications left that still depend on GTK2. Now, there are a bunch of GTK2 applications in the GTK2 version of LXDE, so those are not going to be on this list, but those are obviously included. And speaking of LXDE, there actually was one.
I think if Microsoft go on Game Pass library to live on, they'll need to work on Linux compatibility.
But there was
I
someone
agree
who
with
complained
that.
about it over on Reddit. Why did Arch replace LXDE with...
Here, before we get onto this, the reason why Microsoft doesn't necessarily want to do that is because Microsoft needs to bet on their monopoly. The reality is, Microsoft makes more money from their operating system and Office divisions than they do from the gaming division. Not to say that they don't make a lot of money on the gaming division. And that operating system allows them to make more money through yep data. That's also why, as I talked about in a recent YouTube video, that I'm like, what, you really think you're getting one over on Microsoft because you got rid of a watermark and didn't pay them? They're making more money on your data. But anyway, Microsoft needs to have that ecosystem in a very similar way that Apple relies on you being part of their Apple ecosystem. Think about it. You get an Apple iPhone, then you get the Apple AirPods to work with the iPhone, and then you're also probably using that with, very often, not always is the case, your Apple MacBook. And you have this ecosystem, and a lot of people that use Mac computers, and I even said the same thing when I was a Mac user. In fact, I still have my old MacBook over here, which is more of a prop, because the drive needs to be replaced on it. But most Mac users like Apple because of the ecosystem and how it, just seamlessly works together. Microsoft has an ecosystem. You get the Xbox. You can play Xbox on a Windows computer. It may not be the same kind of ecosystem that Apple has. If we're looking apples to apples, I think Apple has an overall better ecosystem. We're not talking about what I would pick. I'm talking about in terms of the integration, cohesiveness between all the devices. I'm not talking about one is better than the other from an actual technology standpoint. But Microsoft needs you to basically get into that ecosystem. So if you have them support the Xbox Game Pass on Linux, then that means you're now opening the door for Microsoft to not make money from Microsoft Windows, which means that they may not make money from Microsoft Office, which means they won't make money from Microsoft Edge. Do you see the problem there? Xbox was merely the next evolution of a market they were trying to grow into. So I don't really see Microsoft ever supporting the Game Pass. Now, I will not lie and say that there are a few Microsoft games I actually do like. I like Halo. I played Halo Master Chief Collection on PC all the time. I haven't played Halo 5 yet because it's only on the Xbox, and I refuse to buy an Xbox just to play the game. I also like Gears of War. In order to play the original Gears of War, I'm going to have to probably track down a classic CD copy, turn that into an ISO, rip that onto Lutris, and play it that way. Minecraft. Well, Minecraft was not originally Microsoft. Let's make that very clear. Microsoft bought Minecraft. There are many people out there that have got Minecraft not by way of Microsoft. Now, they may have to use Microsoft systems to access it. Microsoft bought a lot of game studios. But yeah. So, yeah. What? Must have been good enough again. I think
LXDE GTK 3. My desktop was working fine with GTK 2, and it went all a mess after an upgrade. I even checked if the testing repository was enabled. I had to recompile all of these things. Can we get the GTK 2 packages for fallback? Also, VTE vanished. I am using Pack Builder otherwise. I don't know what Pack
Arch
Builder
problems.
is. Yeah.
Maybe.
That wasn't going to happen. I think
Go touch
with
grass.
LXDE, that is present within the AUR, so you can always
kidding.
go and use the AUR packages if you desperately want the GTK2 version. Now, for some of these tools, it makes perfect sense why...
Could you at least give us a warning when you get massive widescreen? God damn.
Literally has GTK2 in its name.
At least I use Dark Reader on my
Is
stuff.
likely something related to GIMP 2. Obviously makes a lot of sense. But a lot of the tools on this list are just really old X11 tools that nobody really uses.
God, LeafPad. Haven't used that in years. HexChat. Haven't used that in years. Pigeon. Haven't used that since AOL Instant Messenger. I forgot Pigeon was a thing. Wow. Yeah, like most of these are something I mean are kind of dead. For those of you who's not aware, let me see if I can pull this up for you. We had what is it? Pigeon Messenger. And HexChat was an IRC client. So this is Pigeon, okay? I have not used this in years. It's not a bad app, don't get me wrong. It's really a nice app for what it did. Back in the day, I think it also supported AOL Instant Messenger, but it also does Jabber, XMPP, Bonjour, Gadoo Gadoo, IRC, Novell Groupwise Messenger, Lotus Same Time, SILC, Simple, and Zephyr. Some of these, nobody really uses anymore. Like, these two are call-outs that, like, they are so old. Nobody uses them. Lotus and Novell, yeah. Now, of course, they have plugins to support many more things. There's a lot of, apps and everything. But I haven't, like, look, you have Yahoo Messenger that you can use with this. You have, hold up. Do they still have it here? I wonder if they still have it. They took it away. They used to use AOL Instant Messenger on here. You can do a lot of things. Look, you could even use it for BattleNet comms. Okay, that might be a decent thing if you do the BattleNet chat. Okay, I will take that, accept that. But, wow, you can even use ChatGPT with Pigeon? Interesting. But you can use Pigeon for Discord. Never even thought about that. Oh, you can use it as a Docker? No, that's interesting. But anyway, this is, an open source app I just have not used in years. The last time I used it as a client, I think, for AOL Instant Messenger. It was really Pigeon and Trillion were the two apps. The great thing about both of these apps was, years ago when we were doing, instant messaging all the time, there were multiple platforms that all of us were on. So some of our friends were on ICQ, some of them were on AOL Instant Messenger, some of them were on IRC, and all of that. And you didn't really want to have multiple apps open, so you had one app that could do everything. That was basically Pigeon. Anyway, continue.
Nobody's developed in a very long time, and I think most people have just forgotten exist. One example being SBXKB. It's basically a tray indicator thing for X11. Another being Xboard. This is a GNU chess implementation that I'm sure there's somebody out there that... Why is that appearing? Bitwarden, what are you doing? I'm sure somebody still uses this, though. Other tools like Xdialog is basically a simple tool for generating a dialogue. Xlockmore is a X11 screen locker, but most people that want a screen locker usually just use X Screensaver. Frankly, I didn't know any others existed.
I didn't either.
Alltray. This is another system tray related application. Nowadays, if you want to make use of something similar, there's things like, I think, K-Tray? Something along those lines, which basically does everything this does, but for KDE, obviously. But there may be some tools in here you actually recognize. So one of those being right about here, mono tools.
Okay.
And mono probably rings a bell. Mono as
Wait.
in the other version of the .NET framework.
Yeah!
Actually,
I remember
exactly
that.
So Mono Tools is basically a collection of testing and development tools for Mono. Another one, Nitrogen. Nitrogen I have used.
I have not used
very
Mono in
extensively,
years.
and it's kind of sad to see it removed from the main repos. This was a really popular wallpaper selector for X11, and if you made use of a window manager like Awesome or DWM or i3, you very likely used this if you were using it, 5 or so years ago. Obviously, this is not leaving a gap in the market when it comes to setting a wallpaper on X11. There's a million different tools to do so, but I use Nitrogen a lot. I believe this was the
Temple
first
OS?
wallpaper
Yes,
setter
use
I
the
was
Holy
using
See
when I
operating
started using
system.
i3. So it still has a special place in my heart. There's a lot of coverage about this tool. For a very long time, this was incredibly popular, but now it's gone from the repos. And if you're an IRC fan, there's one name in here you probably spotted.
HexChat.
HexChat. So if we go to the website is still available because it's posted on GitHub.io, but HexChat was a relatively popular IRC client.
I used to use it for years.
That's just not really the case anymore. Maybe it's still being used, but it's not being developed anymore.
Nope.
So about a year ago, the project was marked as read-only, the project was archived, and it wasn't just done with no sort of announcement. If we go to the news tab, there was an announcement of the final release. Basically, it hadn't really been maintained for a long time, and nobody else wanted to help out, and basically, it's like an IRC client, and it was a fork of another client, and there's just not really that much interest in IRC at this point. So there's not that much interest in supporting a project like this, or just
IRC was
helping
great,
out
but
with a project like this. Now, as these
all's well that
packages
ends
basically
well.
still did function, most of these have been moved over to the AUR. So for any of these you do happen to be using, whether it be HexChat, whether it be Nitrogen, whether it be anything else that happens to be on this list, if you need it, the AUR is where you're going to look. Now, I have noticed that not all of them are being transferred over, so there may be things missing. If that's the case, you will have to probably go and compile it yourself and, I don't know, maybe go and run the AUR package yourself, but for the most part, you should be fine. And for the most part, most of you probably aren't using any of these tools. I could certainly see Nitrogen still being in use if you're using an X11 window manager.
Maybe.
But a lot of these other ones, probably not. Except for the guy running the GTK2 version of LXDE. And if that isn't good enough and you're still very into GTK2, if you go over to Artix, they will be keeping the GTK2 stuff around, so there is that. At least for the time being, there may come a point sometime in the future where the packages break and it can't be done, but at least for now, at least for the notable ones, they will reside in their repos. So
I haven't used GTK2 in years.
Yeah, basically. But, of course, they're not going to be actively supported, and if you want to, help out with them, you can do that, because even in Artix, they're not that crazy. They're not that crazy to try and just, fork old GTK2 projects and take on all of that maintenance burden when nobody else wants to do so. And
because they're not masochists.
That, they also have a forum thread about doing this GTK2 change as well, so keep that in mind. But there is one semi-maintained project still using GTK2. That is Calf. So if we go down just here, Calf Studio Gear is an audio plugin pack for LV2 and Jack environments under Linux operating systems. The suite
remember
contains lots of
this.
effects, delay, modulation, signal processing, filters, equalizers, dynamics, distortion, and mastering effects, instruments, SF2 player, organ simulator, and monophonic synthesizer, and tools, analyzer, mono stereo tools, crossovers. Calf Studio Gear aims for a professional audience. Basically, bunch of audio nerd, audio calibration effect sort of stuff. And a few weeks ago, this issue was made on the Arch Linux GitLab for the package of Calf. Why has the GUI been disabled? Why did you remove the GUI with this commit here? That is a fundamental part of Calf. The GTK2 GUI plugin still run properly, and its own external host wrapper, Calf Jack Host, that is now missing as well. If possible, I would like to have it back, and the commit actually did say why it was removed, because of the GTK2 dependency, because of all of the stuff going on with this. And the GTK2 stuff is not a newly known problem. This was reported to the project about a year ago. Have you in plan change GUI from GTK to other like Juice or something cross-platform? That's a mess of a title.
That's
basically
somebody
with
who's
Ardor 8.4,
English second language.
it wouldn't work with Calf plugins because it was using GTK2 and the version was too old to be supported. With one of the devs at the time saying, those problems were basically in sight a couple of years ago. That's why I started CTK as a replacement for GTK2. Basic stuff already works. A fair? Is that a word? I don't think it's a word. Maybe it's
No, it's not.
Things like compositing, layering, event bubbling,
least
flipped
not with
region
one
redraw,
F.
and the like, still a long way to go. After CTK is done, Calf needs to adapt to the new toolkit, since it has grown into this huge pile of devices, and still suffers from a few design flaws UI-wise, e.g. direct access between UI and DSP needed. It's nothing to be done on a Sunday evening, but more like an effort of several man-months. And throughout this thread, a whole bunch of workarounds were listed, things you can do in the meantime, all this good stuff. But at the end of the day, well, you gotta do something, because otherwise, even though this project is actively being developed, GTK2, it's not just dead in Arch. This has been a problem since, can I find the comment? Yeah. Since at least Ubuntu 20.
Oh god, really?
And it's possible
Hey,
that
thank you for
other
the follow,
distros were
Juvie Grace.
earlier, so yeah. You gotta do something if you want your project to even remotely have a place on Linux at this point. So GTK2 came out in 2002. It was only a matter of time until this was going to happen. And with all this going on,
God,
with
I remember
these packages
GTK2 when I
finally
was,
being
like,
pulled,
running
that
my
completes
first
the
Linuxes.
to-do list that has been open since December of 2020. This is about the GTK2 EOL, and now with that, everything has been marked as completed. Everything has been dropped. And there was quite a few other packages that were dropped quite a while ago. But there were just a couple of little ones that still held on and still need to be dealt with, but no more. No more GTK2 in the main repos. If you want to use it, well, there's still the AUR, so you can always, do that. But let me know, were there any GTK2 packages you still had on your system? If you did, I would like to know why. If you didn't, well, you're in the majority people. But I want to know your thoughts down below. Yeah, if you liked the video, go like the video, go subscribe as well. And if you really like the video and you want to become one of these amazing people over here, check out the Patreon subscribe Starly Barapay linked in the description down below. That's going to be it for me, and this had to happen eventually.
But yeah, I can't believe it took that long to get GTK2 out of the system. But yeah. So yeah, it is what it is. Technology will always move on, but it's been interesting to know that that's been around for, God, 23 years, 2002. But anyway, it's getting to be late. I got work tomorrow, so I'm gonna call it around 10 o'clock. Thank you all for joining me. If you haven't already, make sure to follow me on all of my socials. I am on Blue Sky, Mastodon, Twitch, Kick, YouTube. And then, of course, we have the Discord and the Matrix servers. The links are in bio if you don't see them in the chat right now. So, excuse me. Thank you all for joining me, and I will see you all on the next stream, which should be Sunday. And then we'll probably shoot for a movie night this Saturday night, History of the World Part 1. Stay safe. Love you all. Happy hacking, and stick around for the raid if you're over on Twitch. Bye.